I got to talk about this real quick. I'm on this job site because I got to grind this, and the belt popped off the stump grinder, so that's an extra 15-20 minutes. I got to get the toolkit, but then I realized I didn't have the adapter because I lost the adapter because I hit a bump and my toolkit exploded all over the inside of the box trailer, and I never made time to fix it. And what I mean is these things can pile up in your first few years of your landscaping business. When you're just getting started, you're going to run into all these things that you didn't know even existed. But the thing is, you don't have time for things to break. You don't have time because you got to make money to get your business off the ground. It can be incredibly frustrating, especially when you have a family, and can drive you to near insanity, because people talk about, oh, you got to have balance and you got to spend time with family and all these things. Well, if let's say you told your wife you're going to be there at 5 p.m. by some dinner, but you have a job that has to get done today, and if it doesn't get done today, it's going to cause an entire domino effect for the next 3 weeks of jobs, that you're on a very timely thing and something blows up or breaks, or you get a flat tire, right? That's what happens when you run a landscape business. Things blow up, things break. But when you are in a relationship with somebody, just an example, that when you're getting your business off the ground, they don't see what you're going through every day. They might just be hearing about the problems you're having. They can't relate to it and they don't understand. I'm not talking about my wife here. I'm just talking in general, because I wanted to make it look like I'm like complaining about my life. I want to talk about some truths here. If every time you're calling home and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be late because the tire blew out and this thing broke and we made a mistake on the job site, your spouse is going to think you're a total idiot. They're going to be like, well, why are these things breaking? I don't understand. What are you stupid? Why are you underquoting? How come you didn't know that? Why would you even do this? And then you could go tell your uncles or your friends, and it just sounds to them like you're just complaining and you're stupid and making all these mistakes, and like, what are you doing? Like, you very quickly hopefully learn that it's not a good idea to tell anybody about any of that stuff. You just conceal it, just like you're not going to go tell your customer, oh, the lawnmower broke down and that's why. It's like you would say something like, oh, we had an equipment delay, we'll be there tomorrow instead of today. You start to construct language that divorces yourself from chaos and all emotions, but internally you could be being eaten up inside, going insane, because like, you know that the thing broke and you got to get this fixed, but you don't have time to fix it. And until you've been in the business long enough and you got some cash reserves and some equipment reserves and money in the bank, and maybe you know a mechanic guy, or you're mechanically inclined, or you learned and been through all this stuff and ironed out a lot of the bumps, you're going to go through a lot of tumultuous chaos. It's very stressful, and you're going to have to absorb it and learn that every single thing you touch, every opportunity creates problems, and every problems create opportunities to fix. It's ongoing, like a Fibonacci sequence. And so the most successful people I know that are friends of mine who own small businesses, they've gotten to the point where they're so assertive and assumptive about potential problems that they began to prepare years in advance for things that haven't even happened yet, or might not happen at all. I got my friend William, the tree guy, I talk about all the time. This dude is like buying spare parts for things that haven't even broken yet. Like, freaking, he's buying doors. Why would you buy an extra door for your truck? You're a weirdo. No, not at all. He ended up needing that door. My friend Steve owns a bigger landscape business. Dude is buying extra dingoes he doesn't even need yet. People think he's crazy. He's like, well, my business is never gonna, if something breaks down, boom, got another dingo. Like, you get to this point where you're so proactive, and it takes a tremendous amount of focus. I'm not saying that I'm there. I'm just talking about painting the spectrum. So you're never caught, caught unprepared, because you're so overly prepared. Or the next thing you could do is, if you're not prepared, is you can at least be emotionally prepared of how you're going to react when the thing does break down. So you start to expect, you say, of course the mower is going to break down. That's what happens when you run a lawn and landscape business. Of course the belt's going to pop off the stump grinder. It's a 15-minute fix, and that's why we have spare ones. Of course the chain's going to dull on the chainsaw. That's what happens when you trim trees. Of course you're going to break a shovel, right? And then you start buying the more expensive shovels. But this is like an ongoing thing. See, it's already getting cleared up. But I just wanted to point this out, because this might seem like common sense, what I'm talking about, almost to the point where it's silly. But they're saying common sense isn't common practice always, is when you're brand new in your business, the first few years, you can really feel isolated and alone and even depressed, because everything is stacked against you, is at least that's how it seems. But when you step into the light and you realize, I've stepped into the light, that all this is actually in your favor. It's all happening for you. It all can be fixed. Every present waking moment is a new moment. The opportunity to see it as a blessing. And when you see it as a blessing, and when you're cool, calm, and collected, and you're in gratitude, then you can just smile and tell your customer, oh, we just had an equipment delay, but we'll be there tomorrow instead of today. You're in good hands, and we'll get it done. You could tell your wife or your family or your friends, or you don't have to tell them that stuff. You don't talk about the wound, you talk about the scars. You don't say, oh my God, this thing is so horrible. You say, no, like, I went through this thing and I fixed it. It's the next Goliath. It prepares you for the next bigger and bigger thing. And it's this thing that's constantly dividing you and separating you and spreading you out thinner and thinner and thinner under more of a magnifying glass, testing you under fire, purification by fire. It's riding you right up at the edge of your comfort zone, constantly, right to your breaking point. And sometimes it'll dangle you over the edge to where you're actually breaking, and that's where you end up having meltdowns. You end up sick in bed, you go into depression, you can't answer the phone anymore in your business. We all go through that stuff, but just realize that you're not alone at all. You're not alone. You're not alone. So smile, throw on an audiobook, and you just keep chucking away at it. And I can get a little deeper, but I'm not gonna. I was gonna say this is what we all face as men. Is my grandfather told me that his father, this is like early 1900s, literally died in the coal mine while working. If you think about that, that's insane. Well, that was an incredibly dangerous situation. Like you're breathing in all that stuff. Like those people sometimes felt like they didn't have a choice. They had families to feed. But it ain't that bad, right? It ain't that bad.